Okay, welcome back to Solo Roll Mangging. Tales of Argosa in the shadow of Tower Silveraxe. Last time we did quite a bit. Well, really we did everything involving the shrine on the lake. We went in there initially, got the locket for Taggart, then decided to go a little bit further, which was pretty painful because there were some very special skeletons in there. There were like ghoul skeletons, sort of. And it was dicey, nearly a TPK. And we had to sort of navigate our way out of there in pitch darkness. But we rested up, went back in as level 2. And we cleared out the rest of the dungeon. Not too many issues. So, technically we skipped this one room that has sturges in there, 6 sturges, and it contains the circular disc to open that stone door. But we found the secret door and went around it anyway, so it was all good. So, we got more XP, nearly level 3, and we got some loot, the Helm of Telepathy, leather armor +1, two-handed sword +1 that we're probably not going to use, some scrolls, potion. Good stuff. So, I think then, so we know about Torthin's tomb. We have directions for that. And I'm inclined to head that way because it's like sort of the next point of interest. But I think there is a player map that you're meant to have of like the region. I'm not quite sure. It says if the players are using the player's version of the map, they can easily locate the Western Canyon feature called Torthin's Hall. Okay, so I'd have to look at the player's map, but apparently, yeah, this is labeled here, Torthin's Hall over there. Okay, see, I put on this D&D, just, why are there vocals? This is why I stick to fucking AI music. There's never any vocals in this shit. Ever. They know. AI knows my brain. Anyways. It's a long trip. 6 miles, or, yeah. Actually, I can't even. 6 miles back to the main road here among the mountains. And then another 5.7 miles to this spot here, whatever that is. Then another like 8 miles to this intersection. Then 11 miles on this sort of winding trail, plus 14 more miles, so 25 to get all the way to this intersection, and then another 6.5 miles to get to the tomb. It's really kind of out of our way. So I'm curious, I suppose. Close that off for a moment. Let me just see if I can get the player version of the map here. Yes. Okay. So this is the player version of the map you would hand them. So there are some things labeled on this. Karn Buldar is, of course, labeled. The ranch is labeled, as well as the shrine. Whatever is here. These trails are not labeled, so this is all unknown. There's something up here that's labeled. A statue, I suppose. So there's ruins up here at the top of the mountain. And there's ruins over here at Forgle's Peak. So maybe this is our next destination. It's not too far away. It's about a day's hike. Yeah, literally 1 day's hike. Which means we'd get there, you know, in the evening. So maybe we can camp outside of the ruins or something. But that's probably our next destination. What is that exactly as far as we are concerned? I don't know. The DM map isn't labeled either. This would be C9. Or C7, if I can read. C7. It's definitely not C7. Are you out of your damn mind? C7. Oh, wait a minute. What the fuck is happening? Okay, I don't know how to read this map at all. It might be C7. What the fuck? So, I get the columns, but then the numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3, 4, 5, 6. What? And none of it makes sense. There isn't even a 7 in here. What? Okay, I just don't know how to read this map apparently, but yeah, it's definitely this dungeon. The Mount Kozengi ruins, right? That's Mount Kozengi. We can confirm this. That's Mount Kozengi. Confirmed. So that is the next one. And it's a heftier dungeon. Not that we know that or anything. I wish there was some explanation of why we have this map. Why it's labeled with some things. No explanation as to that. But yeah, that's our next bet. So we're going to spend one more night here at Taggart's. Maybe have him cook up some steaks for us. The normal rule that we abide by is 1 HP. If you sleep overnight. If you're sleeping in a safe and comfortable location like an inn, you get 2 hit points. I change it a little bit. Well, I do abide by that, but I also abide if you're out in the wilderness and you actually cook fresh meals rather than just eating a ration. I also give you 2 HP just to encourage, like, you know, I like to encourage cooking. So we're going to spend the night. That's going to get Nefir up to 6. Now, the only way for her to heal back to full is a long rest, and I don't really want to do that even though there's literally nothing stopping me. But we don't want to overstay our welcome. We could go back to Karn Buldar and do a long rest, but really we just need, you know, a good battle and then a little short rest and she'll be fine. So, let's say that Taggart is really grateful. He's going to send us with some jerky. So he's going to send us with some rations. Let's just do, he's not that generous of a guy, though. So let's just do D8 plus 6. Okay, 7 rations. And we're going to load that onto the mule. Beulah. We could maybe purchase more from him if we wanted, but he probably is going to charge quite a bit because it's, you know, it's Angus. It's prime Angus he's got. So we're just going to mosey on. We're going to put this scroll of arcane armor on the wagon as well. I don't want to delete this because I put in the summary, so we'll just put it unassigned. Alright. So, bright and early, we are setting out south. So, we're going to roll once for our random encounter check. Remember, a 1, 2, or 3 is going to be a random encounter. Okay, well, peaceful travels. Oh, also weather I didn't roll for. Nope, normal spring day. What a pleasant day for adventuring. This is like a Lord of the Rings montage we get to see here as we go up Mount Kozengi. Yeah, so 12 miles. That's slightly more than the actual distance. So we get up to the ruins here. The road here breaks from the dense trees, and a half-mile ahead in clear weather, daytime, ruins can be distinguished from the boulders and rocks. All that remains here of the ancient buildings are some partially standing stone walls and foundations, which at one time may have served as a temple. The entrance to the dungeon is a 5-foot square opening in one of the foundations, which is covered by brambles. Roll on the wandering monster table as the players search for it. Okay. You're the expert. I think we'll do that in the morning. I think so we can see here the road breaks here from the dense trees, and we can see a half-mile ahead the ruins, and it's obvious that that's what we're looking for. So I think we're gonna camp here amongst the trees rather than out in the open next to those scary ruins. So we'll do that in the morning. So we're going to we're gonna eat some rations. I'll just deduct that. Oh, we didn't do our we didn't do our travel rolls. So I think Rethy is foraging. So that's a wilderness lore roll. Terrible failure. That's not good for her. That's not good at all, because that means that she consumed something poisonous. Has to make a luck con save or suffer toxin trauma. Yeah, okay. And this is going to count against her shit. Okay, so she has a rough little night here, but otherwise fine. And she loses that point of luck, which is kind of the real bummer. Okay, so we're gonna consume 3 rations. I'll deduct that off the cart. And we're gonna roll a random encounter check for the nighttime. Okay, we're good. So she's gonna recover another hit point. And then in the morning now, we're gonna go up and try to find the entrance to this ruin, and we're gonna roll on the wandering monster table. Which means I'm pretty sure that not a check or anything. We're actually gonna roll an encounter here. These encounters are pretty nasty. 1d10 sturges could be pretty rough. 1d4 crab spiders, I mean, we're familiar with those. Alright. 4. It's giant rats. 1d8. 7 of them. Alright, what's our reaction roll? Pretty mid. Okay. So that means they're neutral or uncertain. Okay. So I suppose when we find the entrance, we find the brambles, we cut through them, and 7 giant rats sort of burst out of the, Oh no, it's a hole, isn't it? Yeah, so these things come out of somewhere else. I don't know where. It's sort of hard to adjudicate. There's just some partially standing stone walls and foundations. So, I don't know. Maybe we disturbed just like a nest nearby of giant rats. And they start sort of scurrying around. But they're not going to attack, and we're not going to attack them. This is often the case with random checks like that, but not always. I don't think, yeah. I mean, we're really not doing anything overt here that's going to piss them off. So I think they just scurry away. But there's a hole in the ground. I don't know how deep the drop is. It doesn't have any mention of ceilings or anything like that. Generally, you probably want to have a rope, though, because I would imagine it's not a 5-foot drop. So probably we're going to want to climb up. So we're going to take Nefira's rope and tie it around, I don't know, maybe part of a stone wall or something like that. Surely there's something nearby. And Dalnir will climb down. First, he's going to cast Light. Well, no, I guess Rethi will climb down because he's going to cast Light on her shield. Also, the two-handed sword +1 I want to put on the wagon. Good. And I guess the amethyst. Also, we have no one watching the wagon, which, if I was a meaner DM to myself, could be a problem. Alright, so he's going to cast the spell. Success. So her shield's lit up. We didn't get a great success this time, so it's just 8 turns, but it's still alright. And she's going to climb down. This doesn't require a check. There's no urgency or threat to her, really, so she climbs down. Dim natural light illuminates the space from the opening above. The floor is covered in animal droppings. The air is musty and warm. There are 2 doors east and south. Alright, so I think it's pretty obvious as she's climbing down, she's going to see these sleeping sturges attached to the ceiling. So now it's a matter of being very quiet. This is going to require a stealth check when we go for one of the doors. But we're all going to climb down there. We either do a group stealth check or we try to do an alpha strike, but they're on the ceiling, so it's not really a great option. Nefira could certainly shoot one, but the sound of its body hitting the ground is definitely going to disturb the others. So we could just assume that we're gonna fail and get an advantage at the start. Breathy could also throw her hand axe. That's probably what I'm gonna do. We're fishing for a short rest, essentially. We're hoping to come out of this with Nefira having more health than she goes in with. But if no one takes damage from the Sturges, then it's not a significant encounter. But there's 6 of them. We're only going to alpha strike 2 of them. I think there's reasonable odds someone takes some damage. So, alright, we're going to coordinate. Nefira to shoot her bow, Rethi to throw her hand axe at 2 different targets. So we do get advantage on this. And she's going to be able to use her backstab finally. So that's +4 attack bonus and an additional 1d8 damage. So, 4, 1d... Oh, we can't actually add a dice to that. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, it doesn't matter. She killed it. They only have 4 hit points. Very nice roll. Natural 19. All good. Yeah, that's all good. With that +7. Ooh. 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 Okay. Very, very solid. And then the hand axe throw. Yeah. Oh, that's why she was missing with that hand axe. I had it listed as range, so she was using perception. But that's what I want now. Advantage on attack. 17 is a hit. 4 damage is barely a kill, but it is a kill. So that's that. And now they all shriek and wake up and start fluttering wings, and we roll initiative. She rolled a 1. All right, she's going to fire off another shot. We don't have advantage or the +4 or anything. This is just a normal, boring shot on another one. And that is a miss. We don't have the hand axe. Rethy's going to try to just swing her bastard sword at one of them. Miss. And Dalnir's going to swing the big scimitar. Oh, that is very much cleaved in two. Okay, that is good. That's 3 Sturges dead, but they are going to attack, so fuck it. They'll each attack one of us. They get +1, they do 1d3 damage, and they have blood sucking. Which, if we go to Axe, where it calls them Strix, which is the singular of Sturges. Yeah, 1d3 plus blood drain. Once latched on, the Strix can use its combat action to automatically deal another d3 damage in the next round. The Strix will remain attached to a target until the target dies or the Strix is killed. Right. So it's going to attack Dalnir, +1. Miss. Nefira. Miss. Rethy. Miss. Well, that's not great. But they are all in melee, so Nefira is not going to be able to use her bow. She's going to stab one. Oh, no, we got to roll a new initiative. Shit. Well, Dalnir has a 13 initiative now. I don't know how he ended up with that. He failed. Alright, same thing. Dalnir, miss. Nefira, miss. Rethy, miss. Alright. Dalnir swings. Butchered. Nefira stabs. Crit. No, natural 19 for 1 damage, but blade trauma of 9. Bleeding out. Deep gash causes the target to lose 2d6 HP at the start of their turn each round. Yeah, it's probably dead then. And Rethy is going to swing. Crit, 9 damage. Alright, well, that leaves nothing. We're not going to take damage from this, unfortunately. New initiative. It's going to go to Rethy. Terrible failure. It goes first. It takes 2d6 damage. It's dead. She nicked a vein, and it bleeds out in an instant. Alright, well, that was that. We don't really get any reward of any kind for that, but we also didn't lose anything from it. Because I'm not tracking arrows, basically. She picks up her hand axe, and we have 2 doors. One to the east, one to the south. Let's listen to the east. Great success. We hear nothing, because it's just an intersection. So, Rethy will head through. This will tick down now to 7. We get to this intersection, we see another door. We'll listen at that door. Success. Okay, so we hear dripping water. And that's about it. Right. We hear dripping water. Not much to make out of that, so Rethy will slowly, cautiously open the door. We see a large room with runes inscribed on the far wall. The walls are damp and covered in algae and moss near the floor level. On opposing walls, there are 2 wide pipes protruding. One pipe is higher up on its wall with a metal stopper stuck in its end from which water is dripping. If removed, water rushes from the pipe into the room. The other pipe is at floor level and acts as a drain unless it is plugged somehow, with a stopper or otherwise. Okay, so we see 2 pipes. One's on the floor, or at floor level. One's higher up. Well, the one higher up has a metal stopper in it. Water's dripping out of it, so we can probably assume there's water behind it. I don't think that's a huge stretch. This is a puzzle. So the runes on the wall, which we can't read, are a phrase that must be spoken to open a magically sealed door to room 17. But they must be spoken underwater, can only be read with a read languages spell, or underwater in the dark with infravision. Jesus, that's specific. One of those situations where it's just like, I don't know how people would react to this. And now that I've read it, I can't really be impartial. I think my players would almost certainly try to roll arcane lore to see if they can read the ruins or know anything about the runes. They always do that kind of stuff. So, fuck it, let's just roll and see what we... a terrible failure. Now, he has no idea, and the runes kind of hurt to look at, and he doesn't want to look at them anymore. He wants nothing to do with the runes. So I think we're ignoring that. And we're going to head further south down the intersection. Let's roll a random encounter. We're fine. Three corridors, all intersected by a longer hallway. At the southern end of the long hall, the floor has collapsed and opens to Hall 14 below. From the opening, the sound of squeaking and scratching can be heard. There's also a pit trap to the east that drops 10 feet into room 12. So we have an obvious hole to the south, a not obvious hole to the east, and then there's room to the west that I think we can probably see as well. A circular corridor with rough relief carvings all along the walls. There are 4 exits, north, south, east, and west. The carvings show scenes of amorphous humanoids worshipping the 3 moons. Alright. Well, we see a door to the east, so I think we're going to be going that way. Which means that Rethi is going to have to roll a perception check. I don't think that... Yeah, traps are always just, I mean, such a contentious part of dungeons. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna like how Axe does it. I'm not gonna like really how any old school game does it. So, yeah, I guess I am fairly new school when it comes to traps. I like a perception check for the person in the lead, and if they fail, they trigger it. And then I do kind of like the way Tales of Argosa does it, where you inform the player of the nature of the trigger, depending on the trap. And then you ask, what do you do? 3 seconds to answer. Just, that's it. All you give them is the trigger. Like a tripwire, or the floor starts to shift, or, you know, something like that. And then just, what do you do? And depending on what they say in the 3 seconds, they might get a bonus to their save. They might actually get a penalty to their save. But it's just, that's it, you know. Quick thinking based on the trigger, and that's it. I'm pretty sure the trigger for this is just like the floor just gives out, right? Like you just step on it and you start to feel it go down. But anyways, so Rethi's gonna get a perception check. She doesn't have great odds. She did barely succeed. So she sees as she approaches that the floor panel directly in front of the door looks to be a bit misaligned. So it's 10 foot. These are 10 feet squares. That's a pretty massive floor panel, you know? I don't know if it's meant to be 10 feet by 10 feet, because it feels really big. Like a minor pit, but yeah, a moderate one is 10-foot diameter pit. So yeah, it can happen, and that's just what you have to deal with. So we could try to just jump over it. The problem there is we'd be jumping into a door, which kind of sucks. Alternatively, we could try to jam it close so the floor doesn't fall in. But that's a little trickier to do, I think, too. Says you can climb down one side, then back up the opposite wall. There's a 10-foot pole, rope, seal the drop hatch with spikes. So I guess it does include that as a counter, being able to just sort of jam it jam it closed. I guess Nefira does have iron spikes, so I don't know if I'd really even require a roll, but I also can't really picture doing this in my mind. Like, how does it get jammed so it doesn't budge? Well, it's on a hinge, right? So I guess if you could sort of force the hinge up a little bit and then jam an iron spike or two, let's say 2. Like if you could jam it underneath the floor panel, it might be able to hold your weight. But it's a 10-foot by 10-foot panel. It's massive. I feel like you'd have to use a lot more spikes than that to actually hold your weight so it doesn't shift. Maybe not. It is a solid iron spike, I guess. It's pretty darn solid. Alright, let's say 2. And this is sort of a disable trap check, so I'm going to enforce that. Luckily, she has traps and locks and a 16 dex, so okay, she barely succeeded. So we're gonna jam 2 of the iron spikes in, and I'll probably be leaving them there, so that's it. All right, that's good. So now we're gonna daintily walk across, and we're gonna listen at the door real quick. 7. Okay. No, there's nothing in there. So we hear nothing. Rethi goes in. We're gonna tick this down again. Roll a random encounter. We're good. So there's a large pool of opaque, murky water in the middle of the room. In the water, a message can be seen to anyone who can see infravision. I will say about this music that it's... yeah, this is very much not like dungeon music. I need just like... I don't know. Like, yeah, Wrath of the Righteous. Even though that often includes vocals as well. I think the Diablo 4 soundtrack is mostly good, but also often has vocals. Okay, yeah. In the water, a message can be seen to anyone who can see infravision. However, there must be no other light source present, or the message will not show. The message appears as glowing blue letters and is readable in any language. The message reads, "Speak the words below water to gain entry." Okay, well, we don't have infravision. That doesn't really exist in Tales of Argosa, and doesn't really exist in a lot of modern games. So, I don't really like that, because then it just means it's just not accessible. So I'd probably just change it to, if there's no lights present, it kind of glows in the dark under the water. That's probably how I'd do it. Not that you'd ever really see it. I mean, you're not going to just deliberately put out your torch or anything. It's possible if you search the pool thoroughly, then I might say you can sort of make out some lettering, possibly. Inscribed in the side of the pool. But, gosh, how would I hint at all to that? I don't know. It's not legible, but then it's just like, okay, it's not legible, and that's it. I don't know how you'd imply that you might be able to see it under different conditions. I don't know. It's okay, well, it's definitely magical, right? It's readable in any language, so it's definitely magical lettering. So, I guess, yeah, implying that there's, like, faint magical energy or something is probably going to prompt an arcane lore roll, and then a success on that suggests that maybe it's possible, if viewed under different circumstances. I guess if you get a great success, I might just say viewable in darkness. But then it's also quite misleading because it says speak the words below water to gain entry, which most players are going to assume is based on this pool of water here, and you have to speak words underneath the water in the pool to gain entry. I don't know how many are actually going to put together that with the pipes in the other room. I could see that just leading to a lot of back and forth, and the DM just kind of sitting there and be like, no, nothing happens. No, nothing happens. Which, you know, is going to tick down your torch, I suppose, and cause more encounters. There's going to be sound of, you know, splashing in the water, people going in and out of the pool. You know, I guess, if that's what you want to do. But to be honest, most parties are just going to be kind of move right along, because this is opaque, murky water in the middle of a dungeon. Most characters and players are steering right the fuck clear of that. Unless we have that cleanse spell or whatever that purifies water. That is a spell, right? Well, there was that cleanse spell in Shadow Dark. But there is definitely a spell that's like purify water. Purify food and water. Spell will purify 50 gallons of water. Yeah, I guess if you have that and you cast it. Then it becomes clear, and then you can see the 500 silver sitting on the bottom of the pool. I'd still be a little wary, but yeah. Like I said, I can't imagine we're going to touch this. So we're going to just move along and keep our distance from it and go to the southern door. Let's roll a perception. Success, of course. There's a green slime clinging to the ceiling. There's a 2 in 6 chance it will drop on a victim walking in from the room to door to room 7. But that doesn't make any noise, so we're all clear. Nafira gives the thumbs up. Rethi is going to enter. We'll tick down our torch again. And I guess we could also roll. Okay, we're still good. Do we notice the green slime? Well, I imagine it's fairly stealthy. They don't get any... I mean, this is an ochre ooze. Just looking at the various jellies or oozes or things like that. Just to see if they get any bonus to stealth. But it's not looking like it. We can check the Tales of Argosa. A gray ooze I saw. Green slime. No. 13 dex, though. It's decent. Yeah, okay. We'll just roll with a 13 dex. And it is going to be a group perception check. Yeah, okay. So it's dex check succeeds by 1. Nafira succeeded by 2, so that's a success. Rethi failed, and Dalnir succeeded by 4, so that's a success. So that means that we do spot the green slime on the ceiling, slightly twitching. And Nafira is very tempted to give it another backstab shot. Although it's not asleep, so this wouldn't actually be backstab. It is aware of us. It's just hoping that we don't notice it and it might drop down on us. So, yeah, I don't think this counts as... It's a free attack. That's it. That's all it is. Which is pretty good. It's got... Oh, interesting. AC dash. 9 hit points. Because it can only be damaged by, like, fire and stuff, right? Shit. Well, yes. So, I mean, it's basically like this. Immune to acidic, arcane, bludgeoning, cold, electrical, luminous, necrotic, piercing, poisonous, seismic, and slashing damage. Only fire can truly harm a black blob. If hit with slashing damage, the black blob will be split into 2 smaller blobs. I hate to leave it there above our heads, but I also don't think we have a good way of dealing with it. We had just had a damn mage. Or if I went back to town and bought more military oil. As it stands, though... Yeah, not much. Alright, we'll ignore it for now and keep an eye on the ceilings. in this area. There is also a statue of a humanoid figure with 3 eyes in a corner alcove. There doesn't seem to be anything unusual about it. It doesn't have a basin filled with coins or anything like that. There's no helmet on its head, but this is a recurring thing we're seeing here of 3-eyed statues. I guess we'll shimmy along the walls then and go to the door. We'll listen even though it doesn't matter. Okay, great success. Rethy goes through, and now we realize that we're on the other side of that crevice. We're going to close this door behind us, because fuck that slime. And we'll go listen at this next door. Also, our torch going down again. Success. A crab spider is waiting for prey and camouflaging itself against the wall. The room here is dank and musty. A red lichen has taken hold and covers the floor and walls. There's a secret door covered in the lichen, not easily detected unless searched for. Now, obviously, as a solo player, I'm inclined to then search that room, but then why didn't I search 7 or 8? It's a good point. It's a good point. And it's annoying that I have screwed myself in this manner because that room contains a shield +1, which would be pretty nice for Rethy to get. But I don't have a good logical reason as to why I didn't search those and I would search this. No, I don't. I really don't. Alright, so we listened at this door, and I don't think we hear the spider. Maybe if I had crit or something, we'd hear it's like, I don't know, its fangs sort of like dripping or something. I'd have no idea. But yeah, so there's a crab spider waiting, camouflaging itself against the wall. Which is pretty stealthy. It's going to get that +2 bonus to stealth. But Rethy's going to go in. We all go in. It rolls for its stealth. Okay, it succeeded by 6. This is our group perception check to notice it. Nefira succeeded by 9, so that's a success. Rethy, oh yeah, detection. So she just succeeded by 10. Rethy, terrible failure. That's not good. And Dalnir succeeded by 2, so that's not a success. So no, we didn't succeed. Meaning that we're gonna get ambushed again by another fucking crab spider. And again, it's probably gonna go after Nefira because she's the smallest, juiciest target. I hate to say it. So it leaps out from its camouflage and pounces on Nefira. It gets advantage. So +2 with advantage against her AC. It hit. Natural 19. That's pretty bad. Did we have a... we probably did. Have stats for a giant spider. Natural 19. Luck, strength, or wrapped in webs. Well, this spider specifically doesn't use webs. So probably we're just gonna roll something on the toxin table. Of just like, it happens to you. Toxin trauma. It won't be too crazy. We'll roll a d6. But she also takes max damage, so I think she might be down anyways, because it's a d8. Yeah, so it's a d8 damage. She's down to 0. The only option we have is a rescue. Someone could intervene and try and block it, deflect it, or take the hit themselves. So I guess Rethi is gonna try to do a rescue here. So she's just gonna intervene with her shield and try to block. So she has to roll an initiative check, which isn't great. She succeeded. Then she has to roll a luck check, often modified by dex, strength, etc., as the GM determines, as well as any other modifiers. Rerolls are available. I think... I could see a con check being involved here. Alright, yeah, we'll go luck con. Great success. Excellent. So, yeah, she basically, like, jumps in and, like, shield bashes the thing to deflect its hit. So she lost another point of luck now, but she did save Nafir's life. So that's pretty good. I think that at that point, no matter what, this is a significant combat. Because that's real. That's real shit. Thank God. Now, she can't do another rescue until the next adventure. Or basically, I mean, I usually do it once per long rest. I could see not doing that if players kind of are abusing long rests, but my players generally don't. And sort of need all the help they can get. And rescues are not terribly likely. She had to succeed, on an 11 initiative and then, like, a 14 constitution. So, it's somewhat unlikely. But okay. Now we're going to go to initiative. Success. Barely. Dalnir has had it with these motherfucking spiders. 21 damage. 21 hit. 10 damage. Instantly cleaves it in two. I'm telling you, that scimitar... 2d5 plus 3 is nasty at like level 1 and 2 against this sort of stuff. So, yeah, that was quick, but I'm still counting it as a significant combat. So, Nafira is going to... Well, he's going to short rest to try to get his spell back. Did. And Nafira is going to try to get a bunch of health. She didn't get shit. Fuck. And I'm not really inclined to use her reroll, so... That's it. I should have bought a healer's kit. Healer's kit lets you roll, I think, an apothecary roll to give someone a... It turns a failure into a success during a short rest. It's pretty handy. They're not cheap. They're not cheap. I think they're 75 gold. Yeah. Yeah, but it's worth it. Okay. Like I said, I have no good reason that I would search this room. So, we're just gonna move on. Torch, the light's getting down there. We'll do a perception check on this next door. We roll a 1. Well, if I was hoping to find a reason to see that secret door, rolling a crit on my perception check while in the room is kind of a good argument, I gotta say. I don't know if I would think of it if I was DMing. And obviously the players couldn't argue or anything, but they might say like, oh, I rolled a crit. Maybe I would think like, oh yeah, well, they didn't search the room. The thing with my players though is they always search every room. And they carry like 1,000 torches, so they never care. I mean, yeah, I roll random encounter checks, but I actually tend to not roll random encounters. I get really unlucky, I guess. Or lucky, depending on how you look at it. But I guess if they didn't search the room, you could argue that, well, she's got her ear to the door and she's kind of look. Her head is turned in this direction. Maybe she sees something unusual on that wall. Like she sees a tiny like sliver in the wall or something, an outline behind the lichen. She doesn't hear anything here though. I'll give it an oracle roll. Do we notice the door? We do not. Okay, I really want to be fair. Because like I said, I'm not sure if I was DMing if I would actually realize that, you know, a crit would give him the benefit there. I might just because I'd be like, because they tend to miss a lot of treasure though. Even though they're generally pretty good about searching, it's remarkable how much treasure they still miss. I don't know how it happens. But yeah, anyways. All right, we're gonna move on. So we get back to this circular room. I think we'll walk all the way around it. We're gonna roll another encounter check. We're good. And then we see that yeah, we're gonna go here to the west then and listen at this door. Failure. Okay, we do not hear anything in there. Okay. So we enter in, and it's kind of a small room. I haven't searched any rooms, and that's really biting me in the ass. But I'm not going to suddenly start now, because why would we? We're just not searching rooms. And there is a ceiling block trap here when someone opens this door. So we're just going to do it as a group perception check. Normally I would just have it the person in the lead, but this is on the ceiling and we're all kind of in this small room. So I think we all kind of have our eyes looking around. I'm going to do a group check. That's one success. That's a great success. Great success. Okay, so we definitely see this. We spot this loose block, or, you know, it looks like it's not fully connected to the ceiling right above the doorway. Few different ways we could do this, I suppose. We could try to jam it again with an iron spike. Or we could try to open the door from the side. It's probably well, it's not the safest, but it would work. The thing is, if we let the block fall, it's going to do a random encounter check for sure. That's going to be quite loud. I don't know about jamming it, though. Assuming like a 10-foot ceiling, I'd have to get onto Rethy's shoulders. But I think that might work. Yeah, I mean, here again, the counter seal the drop hatch with spikes. So, sure, that's what we'll do. We'll spend another... I would imagine one spike should be able to just kind of jam it in there. We'll probably still open it from the side, but... Alright, we'll jam another spike in there. Those come in handy. And, we're going to then have Rethy open the door from the side. And now, I think it's unlikely that it will fall, but I will do a disadvantage oracle check. Does it fall? It does not. Okay, so we kind of hear it and see it shift slightly, but it does not fall to the ground. So we're going to quickly kind of move through. I'm going to tick the torch down again, roll another encounter check. We're fine. We enter into room 6, which just says the stairs lead down to room 11. So we have our stairs, and we cautiously descend The second level of the dungeon. Ho ho. We enter into a large room with 6 huge stone pillars. 2 doors, one south and another goes east on the north end of the room. Okay. We'll roll another encounter check. There it is. And we have D4. 2. 1 D4 crab spiders are waiting in this room for us. 2 of them, of course. All right, once again, they're on the ceiling, so let's get that dex check. Okay, they succeeded by 0, so then we might actually spot them for once. Breathy failed. Nefira failed. Jesus. Everyone failed. Well, unless I want to do rerolls across the board, I think we failed. I can't believe it. That sucks. Alright, the spiders are gonna give us the drop again. Fuck. As we head over to this door to the south. I hate keep picking on Nefira, so I'm not going to. They're gonna drop on Dalnir and Rethi. So again, they have +2 and advantage. On Dalnir, that is a hit. On Rethi, that is a hit. Then 1d8. That's 8 damage to Dalnir, 2 to Rethi. Ouch! Dalnir took the brunt of that. And now they also have to make their con checks +2. Oracle roll. Great success for Dalnir. Failure for Rethi. She is going to reroll. Yeah, okay. So she's going to reroll. Great success. All right. Well, we've taken damage, so we got our significant encounter at least. But let's roll initiative. More fucking crab spiders. This region is just infested, man. All right, Nefira succeeded. Dalnir's had enough once again. But he missed. Damn. That doesn't bode well. Rethi swings her sword. She also misses. Nefira is going to try... Nah, fuck it. She's gonna back off and shoot her bow at one of them. Okay, so it does get +2 to AC, but that just means that it has 14 AC, I believe. Yep, 14 AC. So it's still a hit, and she does 5 damage to one of them, leaving 4 HP left. But they are now going to try to finish off Dalnir and Rethi. So the one attacks Dalnir with an 18. That is a hit. And Rethi miss. Dalnir takes 5 more damage and has to roll another luck con check. +2. Great success. Fine. Next. Well, I generally go left to right. So Rethi is rolling initiative. Success. Come on, Dalnir. You got this. Little bitch spider. Boom, baby. Jesus. Max fucking damage. And he rolled natural 19. I gotta see what it would be. Oh my god. So that would be 10 on the blade trauma table. This is a butchering, man. Severed arm or hand. So he just severs one of the spider's limbs. Brutal. Yeah, that thing's dead. We'll say that was the... We'll say that we trusted Dalnir to one-shot his spider, so Nefira shot the one near Rethi. So Rethi's going to swing at it. Miss. Nefira is going to shoot her bow at it. That is a miss, unfortunately, because it has 14 AC. I'm really tempted to take a unique feature of, like, a precise shot to ignore that penalty. But unfortunately, it is what it is. And the spider now is going to make a morale check. It succeeded, so it's going to try to bite Rethi again. It missed. We get a new initiative. Okay. We'll let Rethi try to finish it off. Nope. Then Dalnir will do his job. Crit. Roll the 20 for 14 damage, and it is very fucking dead. What a god! And we get a short rest. Okay, he's gonna recover some hit points. And he's gonna recover more hit points. Nefira is gonna short rest. She rolled terrible failures again. Fuck me, man. She has a 12 will. This is just really unfortunate. Okay, and Rethi... Yeah, she can... Yeah. Of course she rolls 2 successes. Alright, well, we're gonna recover a reroll. And we're gonna recover a 1 hit point. Damn it, Nefira. Alright, then the light goes out. And, it starts to fade away, so... Dalnir is going to recast Illumination, the best spell we could hope for. Success. So now we're back to 8. Alright. We listen at the door to 13. Success. No, doesn't sound like there's anything. Rethi enters. It says the curved walls on the south side have relief sculptures on them, similar to the ones found in room 4. And then there's another door. So we do another perception check. Now, if I don't start searching, I'm gonna get boned. I know it. So fuck it. I'm spending the 10 minutes. I'm searching this room up and down. We're going to roll a random encounter check. Of course, we get a random encounter. And this time, it's the Sturges. Sort of tricky, because it's a pretty enclosed room. I'm never quite sure how to narrate that makes sense. Usually, it's just like, well, there's a hole in the ceiling. That's usually the easiest way to do it. It's a dungeon. There's always holes in the walls, holes in the ceiling. Things burst out of them. Call it a day. So I guess that's what we're going to do. It's 1d10 Sturges. 8 of them pouring forth from the ceiling. That's pretty nasty. Alright, so we can hear them coming then. There's not going to be an ambush on us. I guess I should roll a reaction roll, but if they're coming out of the ceiling, I can't imagine... Yeah, we rolled a 5, so it's no go. That's not gonna be pleasant. Unfriendly. Yeah, so they're coming for blood. Alright, so they burst out of the wall. I guess we're gonna prepare some attacks then if we hear them coming. So Nefira's gonna shoot anything that comes out of the hole. Rethi's gonna throw her hand axe at anything out of the hole. Dalnir would probably benefit at some point from picking up a sling or something, but fuck it. Alright, so they burst out. We shoot the bow with advantage. 11. No, they have a 12 AC. So, unless I count this as a backstab, but I don't think it is. They obviously know that we're here. They heard us, so they're coming, so they know we're here. It's not a surprise, really. It was just a free shot, so that's a miss. Where they showed up a little too fast, but the Rethi throws the hand axe. That is a hit for 2 damage. Doesn't kill anything. Technically, they have 1d4 hit points, which would be 2.5, but I usually go to 3 on that. They actually go all the way to 4. Either way, 3 or 4. She doesn't get a kill, and now we're in the thick of it, so... Initiative. Great success. Nefira is going to go as far away in the corner as she can and shoots her bow. She does get a kill. Excellent. Down to 7. Rethi swings the bastard sword. Crit. That's another kill, down to 6. And Dalnir, he might do some cleaving action here, because we don't really want to get these things latched onto us. Okay, yeah, he gets a kill, so they're down to 5. He's going to try to cleave through 2 more. So luck, strength, -2. Failure. Yeah, he'll reroll. There it is, great success. He does 2d5. They're dead. He kills 2 more. So they're down to 3. Which is going to immediately prompt a morale check. I can't imagine they have higher than, like, a 10. They have a 5 will. Yeah, okay, that seems about right. They rolled a 20. Crit fail, so they, like, are panicking and, yeah, fluttering around and freaking out, but they fly back into the hole. And that's it. Not a significant encounter, but a successful one nonetheless. Okay. Obviously, we didn't find anything in our search. We're going to listen at this next door. Great success. And there are giant rats scurrying along the hallway here, scrounging for food. So she rolled a great success. So she can hear that and can tell that they're giant rats scurrying along this long, some sort of room or hallway. There's 8 of them. Giant rats are not, they're not necessarily going to attack people, just willy-nilly. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't really see them, like, that's a very modern thing of just like, there's giant rats, they start charging towards you, and it's like, I don't know if they really would. They're big, though. I mean, the smallest of them are 3 feet long, which is, like, as tall as Nefira is. So, I mean, they're big, but I don't remember what rulebook or what I was reading, but it was just, like, talking about how most animals don't like to fuck with humans. Because humans hold grudges. Humans will, they'll hunt you down and slaughter you, if you don't kill them or something. Like, I don't remember how it phrased it or something, but it was just like, it made a good point of just like, animals in general are pretty wary of humans. And I don't see why these giant rats would really be an exception. So they're here for sure, but yeah, I mean, they're scrounging for food. There's more giant rats in this room gnawing on a recently deceased brigand, which suggests that they did attack him and kill him. So it could be starving. I think this is usually where a reaction roll is going to come into play. Generally, you don't do that for non-random encounters, but I think sometimes it's warranted. So, but I'm not necessarily going to give them the option, because I think what we're going to do is kind of crack open the door a little bit, and Nefira is just going to try to snipe one. And then maybe close the door, and we can repeat that for a little bit. So she's going to stealth open the door, which means she gets to roll with advantage. No problem. She's very quiet. And then she's going to snipe one with her bow. So that's +4 with advantage. And an extra D8 damage. So, yeah, she absolutely they only have 2 hit points, so she destroys a rat and pins it to the fucking wall. And then we'll have her roll another stealth just to see if she got noticed doing that. She didn't. So now it's just a matter of kind of repeating the process and pot-shotting these giant rats until they, like, notice and either leave or... I can't imagine they're going to charge the door or something. But, again, she is a small target, so they might think that she's a good morsel to eat. Perhaps I'm being a bit too generous, but, I mean, you give halflings advantage on all stealth-related checks. That's pretty significant. So she's going to try again. She's going to have to roll stealth before and after shooting. She succeeded. She shoots with a backstab. She gets a kill. She rolls stealth again. Success. Okay. So that's 2 of them dead. Eventually they might notice. I should probably assign an escalating penalty to at least the second roll. Great success. She shoots her bow. Another kill. Let's say a -2 penalty to this now. So -1 total. Okay. Success. She shoots her bow again. That's another kill. Jesus. Okay, now it's like a -4 penalty. Great success. Jesus, she's rolling crits here, man. Another kill. Alright, a -6 penalty, I guess. Still succeeding. Can she go again? Yeah, she can. Get another kill. That's another kill. I got -8 penalty. There it is. Okay, the rats finally take notice. We will roll her reaction roll. And this is based on her specifically, so it is at -3, which is pretty bad. Alright, so that's a 2. That means they are definitely going to try to charge her. They're not really cognizant that there's not many of them. They, you know, they don't think about that stuff. So I guess it's a question of how many kills I got. How many times did I do this? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I killed 6 of them. There's 2 left. But they see a morsel of food here, so they're going to charge in. So now we're going to roll initiative. Oh, she actually rolled a terrible failure. But I could use a trick and technique to re-roll. Yeah, we rarely use tricks and techniques, so fuck it. So we're going to re-roll initiative. Use the best result. Alright, we get to go again. She's going to shoot her bow again, but this is just a normal shot. That is another kill. There's 1 left. So now that one is going to roll a morale check. He failed, so he scurries off into the darkness. Okay, good thing we're not keeping track of arrows, because she would have just dumped a load onto these rats. And again, I think if we had all just stepped out into the room, I think they all would have just scurried off anyways, but meh. Like I said, I don't really get much out of that. I technically get like a very, very small amount of XP. And it probably should go only to Nefira, but yeah. Alright, this long hall has 4 doors, 2 along each side. The hall dead ends 20 or so feet past the furthest door on the western end. The ceiling is collapsed in one spot, creating a 10-foot opening to the upper level. The dead-end wall has been plastered up to conceal a hidden chamber, containing 900 silver and some clay pottery. Alright, well, I don't know if we'd really think to search the hallway, so this might just be a passive perception check. Let's do a group perception at -4. It's pretty unlikely. I agree. But you know, this is just a gimme from the DM. Usually, players would have to dictate that they're searching that dead end. But I'm just giving a gimme. Terrible failure from Rethi. Crit from Nefira. That's pretty significant. And a great success from Dalnir. Okay, so yes, Nefira does notice that there's something odd about that dead end. And it looks like it's actually been covered in plaster that could be scraped away. So we're going to spend the time to do that. I'm going to tick down the torch by one. We're going to roll a random encounter. We get another one. More Sturges. How many more Sturges could there be? It's so ridiculous. I mean, what are the odds, though? Getting, like, 2 random encounters, 2 rooms in a row of the same roll. Ridiculous. But alright, 1d10 Sturges. It's just 3 this time, so that one survivor... Actually, I think that may have... There might have been only 3 survivors. So they're coming back with vengeance. They're going to try to ambush us. Except, I don't know. I think it's a similar situation. Anytime I do the hole trick, where it's just, okay, they come out of a hole in the ceiling, it seems hard to justify that you can't hear them. Because these are very quiet places. It's a tomb. It's a dungeon. You know, whatever. You know, it's very quiet. So these things are like scraping through the walls and stuff. And they have wings. It's really hard for them to imagine that we wouldn't be able to hear them. So, fuck it. We just hear things coming from a hole in the ceiling again. And we're going to do the same damn shit every time. So we're preparing our bow and our hand axe. And, do it. She does land a shot. And, does kill one. Hand axe. She also kills one. That leaves 1 remaining. It's going to roll a morale check. It crit failed. So it scurries right back in the hole, and that's the encounter. Get the fuck out of here, Sturges. Okay. So that was our roll while we're scraping away the plaster with probably using the hand axe or something. And that reveals a big hole in the wall. And there's some clay pottery. So I suppose we'll do the same thing of shooting it from a distance just to make sure. And coins spill out. So that's good. And we got 900 silver, which is unfortunately a couple slots. But I think Dalnir can handle it. So I'm actually going to make a dummy item. Called 400 coins. Okay, so he's going to carry 600 silver. Alright. So he's technically carrying 732 coins, but I only count a slot for every 400. Alright. That's good. That's treasure obtained. Not much. It's 90 gold, so it's 90 XP between the 3 of us, but it's something. It is money. We're going to go listen to door number 15. Success. So we can hear something being gnawed on the other side. And it sounds kind of close to the door. I think we're going to go for shock and awe on this one. I think Rethy's going to charge through the door, and we're just going to try to slash anything real quick. So she's going to get a surprise attack on whatever's in there. And then we'll roll initiative. So she bursts through the door. She sees more giant rats. We're sick of vermin and bugs and shit. So she's going to swing that bastard sword with advantage. She does 17 damage, or 17 attack is a hit, 3 damage is a kill. So she decapitates a giant rat, and we roll initiative. Great success. She's going to immediately swing at another one. She kills another one. They're down to 4. Dalnir, he's going to come in with his big-ass scimitar. But he misses. It scurries out of the way, and he slams into the ground. Nefira is going to try to just stab one. She does not. So they lost 2 of the 6. But I still am tempted to roll morale just because I feel like these things were just enjoying a succulent meal, and we just barged in and decapitated a couple of them. I don't think they're really inclined to fight us. And they have a will of 6, so I think they're probably skedaddling. Yep, they failed. So they're gonna flee. Rethy's gonna give one an op. She crit. So, that one's dead. They're down to 3. Nefira gets an op. Miss. And Dalnir gets an op. Kill. So we killed 4 of them. 2 of them scurry through a hole in the wall. Alright. There's a corpse on the ground of a brigand. Looks recently deceased. We search his body and we find 1,000 EP, which is pretty annoying because that's quite a few more coins. 1,000 EP is 5 EP is 5 EP. No. 5 silver is 1 EP. So basically, that's 500 gold is what we got. But all right, he's carrying now 1,700 coins. So he's got to take up 4 slots with the coins. It's getting to be quite the... Eventually, I feel like there should be like a stealth penalty for coin carrying. It seems like it's just really hard to make that not make noise as you're moving around. You know, I'm thinking about like Kramer when he paid for the calzone with like all pennies or whatever. There's a massive amount of coins in his pockets. Everybody having like a laundry sack or whatever with it. Right. But still, it's 500 gold. It's a pretty big haul. I don't know what this brigand was doing with it, but he had it. We're going to tick down the torch again. We'll roll for another random encounter. We're fine. We're going to go to the next door over. We do see that this section here, the ceiling collapsed here, creating a 10-foot opening to the upper level. It says 12, but I don't think they mean 12. I think they mean 2. Anyways, we were going to listen to the door to 16. Great success. We hear nothing, so we enter cautiously. We find nothing. We search the room because I said we're going to search every room. Or any room without obvious treasure, I guess. And we're going to roll another random encounter check. We're fine. We go over, we listen to the next door. Great success. Um... We don't really hear anything, so we enter cautiously. And... Right, I was just reading ahead. So there's this square-shaped room. There's a hallway leading to the north. There's a door to the west. There's a door to the east. And then we see sort of a shaft in the middle of the room in the ceiling going up. And I don't know if we would strictly think of that being the pit trap. But I don't know. It looks harmless, I suppose. So we have, right. So the door to the west is trapped. Once open, 2 darts fire at the character. The door to the east is just locked. So, I mean, we're going to try both doors. So, as usual, Nefira is going to... Well, I guess we're going to search the room first. That is what we've been doing. Random encounter check, we're fine. So we're actually going to do... We're searching the room, and we're spending 10 minutes, so it's always a very thorough search. So I'm going to allow a group perception check to see if we see this dart trap. Terrible failure from Rethi. Success from Nefira. Terrible failure from Dalnir. So no, we do not find that dart trap during our search. I'm going to allow one more perception check from whoever goes to the door. Nefira is going to listen to the door to the west. She's not looking for traps specifically, so for me to tell her this, she needs to get a great success on this roll, which she's likely to get. Oh, she actually failed, so she doesn't hear anything. She wouldn't hear anything anyways, but she definitely doesn't see the trap. So I'm not even going to give Rethi a roll. I think I've been more than generous enough with the dart trap. So the one thing I'm curious about then, I guess, is what the trigger would be for like a dart trap. I guess pretty minor, right? Like you just sort of... Yeah, I guess you just hear sort of a click in the wall in the doorway to like your left. And you... No, I mean, that's all... Yeah. You're not meant to give them much information about the trigger. The usual response, you know, in those situations is just like, I leap backwards. Like, that's always pretty much going to be... And that's like... that almost never will work against you, right? It's a rare thing where leaping backwards is going to hurt you. So yeah, she's going to leap backwards. This is going to be a luck dex check. And I will give her +2 for leaping backwards. Because I'm a nice guy. She succeeded. She succeeded because of that +2, actually. So good for her. She does lose another point of luck, though. And that is the problem with being point person. You tend to take a lot of luck hits from traps and stuff. But she avoids the darts as she opens the door. I guess she could have put up her shield as well, but again, without knowing the exact trap, like the block falling on your head, putting your shield up in front of you is not going to do shit. Whereas leaping backwards, that's a good idea. So inside, we see some more clay pots. I mean, fuck it, we'll just shoot him with an arrow again. Coins fall out. So we find 400 more silver and 200 more gold. It's getting a little obnoxious here. We're going to give the 400 silver to Rethi. And 200 gold. Does that put him over a threshold? No, I don't think so. So 327 gold he's got. It's nice XP. Then we'll go... So now we're a little bit more wary. So now Nefira is actually going to check for traps on the eastern door. It's not trapped, so it doesn't matter. I mean, I would have players roll, obviously, but it doesn't matter. Which is funny, because I always roll for perception, even though I know it doesn't matter. So after that, she'll roll perception to listen through the door. And it's all clear. But then when Rethi tries the door handle, it's locked. So we actually have a traps and locks. It doesn't really matter. I think really what I would do for the roll here is really just determine how much time it takes. A failure here, you're still going to get it open, but the torch is going to tick down. It's going to be another 10 minutes. Alright, so she got a success, so it doesn't take too long. I am going to tick down the timer regardless for being in here this long. And we're good. We pop open the door, and we find, on the floor, I guess, another 100 gold pieces and a scroll of protection from undead. Which is worth 150 gold for XP purposes, which is pretty nice. Nefira is going to take this gold. And, sure, Rethi will take... No. Dalnir is going to take it, because he can actually use it. Scroll of protection from undead. But I need the axe version of that. Well, hard to say, really. Sanctuary could be an option. Holy Circle could be an option. I assume it just gives, like, +1 or something. Protection from undead. Is it just a variant of protection from evil? Sure. Let's say it is. So +1 bonus to saving throws against attacks or special abilities of affected creatures. Attacks against the caster are penalized by 1. Prevents such creatures from attacking the caster in melee. Enchanting, constructed, or summoned creatures. Yeah, alright, so yeah, it's just a minor defensive boost versus undead. So let's look at... Yeah, okay, let me look at Holy Circle first. It's a Holy Circle of protection around the caster with a 10-foot radius. You have to concentrate and stand still for the duration of the spell. Provides protection from attacks by enchanted creatures and evil creatures, including constructs, incarnations, or undead, or any conjured or summoned creature, regardless of type, or any other type of creature designated in the Monstrous Manual as enchanted. Evil creatures include enemy creatures of an alignment other than the caster's alignment, inherently evil creatures such as incarnations or undead of chaotic alignment. So it blocks them from entering its area of effect. Can't make attacks on creatures within the circle with their natural weapons. Does not block evil creatures from entering, but provides some defense against them. All creatures within the radius gain +1 bonus to AC and +1 bonus on saving throws against... Yeah, I mean, it's basically the right spell. I imagine that's where we're going to go with. I don't think Sanctuary... Yeah, that just prevents the caster from being attacked by anything. So we're going to go with Holy Circle. This massive novel of a spell text. And of course, it fucks up the text. I don't even know if I want to bother fixing this text. Good enough. Concentration, 10-foot radius circle, protection. Well, blocks enchanted, +1 AC, and luck versus evil. Yeah, right? Yeah. So this is the whole scroll of Holy Circle. Good, good, good. Nice. Again, that's 150 gold of XP, which is nice. Okay, then we're going to continue down this hallway, and we're back in this room number 11. So, as far as we are aware, that's the end of the dungeon. Now, of course, that's not quite the end. We missed some rooms. We missed the shield +1 down here, which I am a little miffed about, but what do you want me to do, man? I wasn't searching every room back then. Let that be a lesson to myself. We also missed... Well, we missed the money in the pool, but whatever. Most importantly, though, we missed this room and solving this with the pipes and stuff. So we could return there and be like, well, there must be something to this, right? There's runes that we can't read. There's this pipes set up. The players... I could see players going back to it and being like, well, we have to do something here. Yeah, so let's make our way back there, which actually is going to tick down our torch all the way. So he's going to have to do Divine Spellcasting again, and cast Illumination again. Okay, so now it's back up to 8. So we get there, we're going to roll one more check on the way there, we're fine. We're going to get to that room then, and we're going to now search the room thoroughly. So torch ticks down again, another random encounter, we're fine. And so now, when searching the room thoroughly, we discover that the eastern wall seems to have what looks like the outline of a door of some kind. But we also can determine that it seems to be sealed through magic. This is all stuff that I would give the players if they searched the room thoroughly. Still, that's still quite a stretch to go from there's a magically sealed door on the eastern wall to actually solving the puzzle, which involves taking the stopper out of the thing, plugging the hole, and letting the room fill with water so that you can read the runes underwater. I'll go one step further just because, again, I think players would roll arcane lore on this whole setup, the runes and everything. So I'm going to roll arcane lore. Okay, great success with a 2 is really good. So I would say to the Dalnir player that this music is way too intense for this sort of puzzle we're trying to solve. Please stop it. You do recall reading a tome at some point about runes similar to this. Would I... Yeah, with a 2, it's pretty good. That's... Don't you love that when YouTube just breaks as you try to skip forward? Would I give away that just... Oh, you gotta read them underwater? For my players, yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to giving that much information away, because I mean, them actually figuring out that they have to plug the drain and stuff, and actually fill the room with, it's... I guess I could be a little bit more delicate and say that the runes are somehow connected to water. This is some sort of magic, runic ritual that is connected to water in some way. I guess that's what I would say. So now, for my own purposes, I'll do an oracle roll to see if we can put 2 and 2 together. So I'll just do 50-50. Can we figure out this puzzle? We can. Excellent. There's not many other ways to do this, all right? If you're going to play solar and you're going to do pre-written modules, you know? If you don't like that whole concept, you know, then you're going to have to do solo with just free-form content. Or just, like, spontaneously generated dungeons or something like that. Yeah, and there are plenty of rules for that. Like, Shadow Dark has rules for generating dungeons on the fly. I'm pretty sure. I thought they did. I know the GM companion for Shadow Dark did. But there's loads of tools out there to generate dungeons on the go. I don't really like that idea because I think that generally revolves around just combat. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I enjoy some of the stuff we do. But I agree puzzles are probably the weakest aspect of doing a solo RPG. There's not really any way to, like, stump yourself, you know? And yet, I seem to always repeatedly have, like, trouble thinking my way through some like, scenarios. But it's more of, like, how could I get my characters to think to do this, basically? Like the thing with the secret door down here that was covered in lichen. It was like, how could I justify searching that and finding that door? So, you know, things come up. But all right, so we deduce, because Dalnir is a smart guy, we deduce that we have to view those runes underwater. They have to be, you know, like submerged in water. And these runes are kind of high up on the wall. So there's not, like, really a way that we can just, like, splash them with water or any, you know, nothing like that. Like, we're going to have to flood this room. And, yeah, I mean, we can see that, and it's not like it would be that tricky to figure out how to do that, right? Because, okay, you take the stopper out of the one pipe. Water starts rushing into the room, and then it starts immediately going down that other pipe and draining away. Pretty easy to figure out that, okay, let's just plug up this other pipe and water's gonna fill. And then we just close this other door, and now we're sealed in here. So the only tricky part then is going to be to drain the room once it's filled with water. But I don't think that's enough water, deep enough water, for it to really be a struggle to remove the stopper from the other pipe once it's flooded. Like, it shouldn't really be that tricky. I could ask ChatGPT. This is a 30-foot by 30-foot by 30-foot... No, 30-foot by 30-foot by 10 room. Let's ask ChatGPT. How much water would it take to fill a 30 by 30 by 10 foot room in a dungeon? I assume this is a pretty simple math problem, and I'm like burning a few trees in the Congo by having ChatGPT do it. 9,000 cubic feet of space, 67,000 gallons of water. Jesus. How much pressure would that put on a door wall? The door at the bottom of that 10-foot deep room takes the full force. 4.33 psi. Typical dungeon door. 5,610 pounds of force. The door is holding back about 5,600 pounds of force. 2.8 tons. Wow. Okay. Well, we can assume then the magically sealed door is fucking magically sealed. Like, that's not breaking. And then the other door, I guess we're assuming, is kind of a sturdy stone door. Which might be a clue, actually. That's not bad. I mean, if you really think about it. If you mention when they come down this hallway, then, oh, this door looks to be a little sturdier and made of stone. It still opens easily enough and everything, but yeah, that could be maybe be a clue. So then it's just a question of the stopper and the water pressure. It doesn't sound like, yeah, 14 pounds of force, easy for any adult or adventurer. But that's a 2-inch diameter. If we go to 4-inch diameter, or a 6-inch, oh, a 6-inch. Oh, 1 foot, 490 pounds of force. Well beyond human strength. Interesting. Technically, it's not straight down. We're not lifting straight up. This is fascinating stuff. I never would have thought. Well, I guess I had a sort of thought about how hard it might be to pull it out. I mean, it's a pipe, right? So, and these pipes must be, it says they're wide. It says they are wide pipes. So this stopper must be pretty big. So yeah, actually I would say large drain, 1 foot or more, treat as DC 30 plus. Yeah, I would say, yeah, it's probably going to require either a great success from Dalnir or multiple of them working in conjunction. Unless we can get some sort of extra leverage thing set up. Like I said, it's not set in the floor or anything. It's wedged horizontally in a pipe. So it might be a little bit easier. I don't know if that actually affects anything or not. But also, if we don't have to flood the room entirely. The runes aren't exactly on the ceiling. So we probably don't want to, as soon as we see the runes and we read them. I think what we want to do then to make it easier for us to work together is tie a rope around the metal stopper. I'm assuming it has like a handle or something, right? Do we have extra rope? No, we used the one rope on the entrance. So if we wanted to use more rope, she would have to use her supply ability. I think we are going to do that, though. Yeah, and we can pull out... She can pull out 1d4. So I guess I'll roll 2. Okay, so she's going to pull out 2 more sets of rope. May as well, right? And then your vocals. Please make it stop. I hate it. So she uses supplies. We tie one of the ropes around the stopper and we pull it out. The room starts to flood. I guess there is a time factor. I assume the bigger we make the pipe, the faster it's going to flood this room, but then also the harder it's going to be to pull out the stopper once it's flooded. I mean, it's nice because I'm willing to trust all the math and numbers here, but I feel like this would be difficult stuff to just Google for, you know, which is what I would have done in the old days, and I would have poked around for a while and tried to do some math myself. So, yeah, it's handy. Okay, so it depends on the pipe speed. Let's assume it's pretty fucking fast. All right, let's say extremely fast. A high pressure pump. That's 10 minutes. Okay. Let's assume 10 minutes. So we're going to do another torch timer. I'm not going to roll a random encounter check for this. Although that would be kind of interesting, I suppose. But most of these creatures wouldn't fuck with us in the water. The spiders probably wouldn't. The sturges wouldn't. The rats wouldn't. So whatever. So 10 minutes go by. The water fills up enough. Technically, like I said, we don't have to fill to the ceiling. But it's also probably not a high pressure pump. So we'll say 10 minutes. We can see we can read the runes underwater. I think it's another sort of leap to assume that you must read the words aloud underwater. Most people aren't going to do something like that. But we're kind of in for a penny, in for a pound here. But I guess that's sort of part of the dilemma. All right, do we think to read the words out loud underwater? No, absolutely not. Which defeats sort of the whole purpose of this, but again, I think that's not unlikely to happen amongst a group. We also don't know what the words are. I guess it doesn't matter. It's just like it's Latin or something. It's a phrase that now we can read and see underwater as pronounceable words. They don't mean anything. So I would not be surprised for a group to see the words and then like swim up to the top where there's still air and then speak them out loud or something. Or they might drain the room then and then go up to the door and speak them there. And also the drainage pipe has to be bigger than the output pipe, right? Otherwise the room would never drain. All right, or we have to put the stopper back in the other pipe, which I guess we will. Which also seems like it might be a little tricky. All right. Well, basically what we're going to do then is we don't think to read the words out loud underwater. So we're going to pull the thing out of the drain, and all working together, we can do that. I'm allowing that. We then wait for the room to drain, which takes another 10 minutes. We speak the words out loud in front of the door, and nothing happens. So then we think, well, maybe we have to speak the words underwater. Well, I'll roll a d20 with advantage now. Okay, now we think, hey, maybe we should do that. Or maybe Dalnir rolls another arcane lore or some bullshit to try to put it together and just have the DM tell you, please, DM, just tell me the solution. We're sick of this. It depends on the group, I suppose. Some might just leave. I don't know. So then we wait for the room to fill again with water. And we speak the words underwater. And the door opens. Water starts rushing into the other room then. And we pull the drainage out. We put it back in the other pipe finally. And we're finally good to go. Jeez. Again, that's a lot of like ifs and maybes, and I don't know if we would think of that, and blah, blah, blah. It's really hard to say. This is a tricky situation for a solo player. But I am very curious to run this for my family sometime and just see how they do this. I think it's either going to be me being generous with their arcane lore rolls or something, or them just ignoring it and leaving and never looking at it ever again. One of those two. But, alright, we descend down the stairs now, stepping through the water. That leads us to level 2B, or not to be. The stairs descend to a large room with 4 large statues of figures with heads bowed. At the end of the room is a sturdy iron door. This is one of those rooms that it's very easy as a solo player to just be like, okay, well, I go to the door. But when you're actually playing, and that's what the DM tells you, is like, okay, you see this slightly long room, and there's 4 statues, 2 on each side, sort of flanking the room, and they have their heads bowed. And at the end of the room, you see a sturdy iron door. It's very easy then. It's very likely for players to be like, okay, well, this room's got to be trapped. You know, how the fuck are we gonna get by this? So, even though I know it's not gonna do anything, what I would probably say is somewhat likely is the rogue player, the thief player, trying to detect traps on the nearest statue and sort of examining it and stuff like that. And again, if you're a real grognard old school player, you demand that they specifically tell you how they're examining the statue. I sometimes do stuff like that, but you know, traps and lock skill is here for a reason, so we're gonna roll that. She gets a great success, so she can say pretty much definitively that this statue is not trapped or contains any mechanisms of any kind. Now, granted, if it was a magical construct or something like that, I would not really give that information away. So the mage or something like that may also want to do an arcane lore or cast sense magic or something like that to see if there's any magical essence or energy coming from the statues. So we can roll that as well, just to be kind of... Oh, he rolled a 1, so he can definitively say there is absolutely nothing magical going on with these statues. So there you go. That's how you handle that. Again, I knew it was safe, but I don't want to just say, well, I walk across because I know it's safe. It's good practice to just be cautious and be thorough and be methodical. But we walk across the room and we go to the door. And we are going to check the door for traps. It doesn't seem to be trapped. We're going to listen at the door. Okay, we don't hear anything coming from the other side. And when Rethi goes to open the door, it's locked, so we're going to pick that lock real quick. Great success. We pop it open in a jiffy. And inside we find a rusted iron chest on the floor. Okay. Yeah, alright. Well, she's going to check it for traps. Great success. Very definitive. Arcane lore for any magic. Great success. Very definitive. And it's not locked, so we pop it open. And we find 3 pieces of jewelry. I feel like you had a little extra room here. I think you could have just mentioned what kind of jewelry it is. But let's say a necklace, a bracelet, and an earring. You don't see earrings too common in D&D. I don't know if they exist really, but I'm saying it's an earring. These are small pieces of things, so I don't know if I'd really... I think that's for like 1 slot. So I guess Dalnir will take it. Bracelet. No. Necklace. Bracelet. Earring. And that's worth 1,600. 1,000. 1,200. Big Papa. That is a lot of XP we just got. So, yeah, I hope I sufficiently earned the discovery as opposed to, well, I wanted to get that treasure, so I'll justify it however I can. I mean, that's sort of the case, but... We also get a sword +1. So this is a regular sword, or, you know, a long sword, bastard sword, whatever. So I think Rethi might finally put aside the heirloom one I mean, it's a personal item to her. She'd love to have it enchanted or something down the line, but you know, adventurers have to be practical about these things. They can't be too sentimental. And a sword +1 is just strictly better. So, yeah, we're gonna take that. So this is going to get shunted over to pack gear. And we're going to add a... let's just call it a longsword, +1. And it's one hand or two hand, blah, blah, blah. Melee, steel, one-handed, 1d8 +1. No, 1d6 +1. She tends to use it one-handed. 1d8 +4, I think is right. And Master Forged, it should give the extra attack bonus. It did, yes. 1d6 +1 +2. That is correct. And plus... well, no. It didn't give the attack bonus. Why did you ask me if it's Master Forged if that doesn't mean a goddamn thing? It doesn't mean anything. That's the annoying thing about this. There's literally no way to give this weapon... oh no, if we make it a magic one. Major... well, then we can increase the damage, but I can't... there's no way to increase the attack automatically. This is just text slots. This isn't like effects or anything. No, there's no way to automatically increase... why would that... well, Master Forge, I think doesn't... I'm thinking of Axe Master Forged or Masterwork. Not Tales of Argosa. Yeah, it has a damage boost on Master Forged. But again, I don't know why you even... but this doesn't change anything, so I don't know why you're asking. I guess just for my own record of it, whether or not it's Master Forged. That's really obnoxious, because I have to remember every time then to add a +1. Damn it. Yeah. I mean, I guess I will. That's how we're going to do it, but it's annoying. I can do a blanket bonus to her attack, so she always has an extra attack, which mostly would work, except if she swings like her hand axe or does a shield bash or something. Then it shouldn't apply. So I guess we'll do it manually, but I'm not too pleased about it. All right. With that, then we can finally leave. We'll roll 2 more random encounter checks on our way out. Because usually you leave a little... well, yeah, there's not that much. Okay, yeah, 2 encounter checks. We're good. This doesn't really matter. We get there, we're going to climb back out, and we are back in the daylight. And all is well. We do not get XP yet, though. We have to make it back to a safe, civilized area. And our goal is definitely to get back to Karn Buldar, which is quite the trek. It's going to be a couple days. That's 5.7 plus 15.8 plus 3.3. So I think we're looking at 2 days at least. 5.7 plus 15.8 plus 3.3. Just barely 2 days, yes. Well, technically a slight forced march, but we're not going to be too anal about it. I know I was the last time we did this, but we'll make it to Karn Buldar in 2 days. So we set out immediately. I mean, we were only in there for like an hour and a half. I guess it is a bit more of a forced march. We could go back to the ranch, but I really don't want to. I want to go back to Karn Buldar because we got to do some selling. Even though it's a class 6 settlement, so they're not going to buy much of our shit. So I think a lot of this money is not going to be available to us, but we get the XP for it at the very least. So alright, the first day of travel, we have an encounter on a 1, 2, or 3. We do have a random encounter. So let's roll D12. 10. It is 1d4 elves. There's a -2 penalty to reaction roll if there's no elf in the party, which there is not. So we roll. So it's a 6. That means that they are wary of us, or they are uncertain. They are neutral or uncertain. So yeah, we're strangers in a strange land. They're uncertain of us. I feel like they're probably going to be pretty stealthy, so I think it's fairly possible they notice us. And we don't notice them. But remember that Nefira is scouting ahead. That's her role that we like to give her. We're also going to roll Forager for Rethi. She got a great success, so that means she gets 2 rations. 2 people don't have to consume a ration. That's good. But yeah, she's the scout, so she's stealthily ahead. Yeah, so I don't know how you really want to do it. If you want to roll stealth, I think it's just a stealth off. It's whoever is stealthier is going to notice the other one. So we need stats for the elves' stealthiness. Elf. They have a dex of 15 and they have advantage. So we both have advantage, but Nefira does have a slight bonus. She actually has 17 here. So she succeeded by 10. They succeeded by 2. So Nefira does succeed. So she sees the elves. And the elves do not see her. Let's roll an activity die. For what the elves are up to. We got a 3. They're eating. Or preparing food or drawing water from a stream or something like that. Alright, so she spots a pack. Well, it's a D4. Okay, she spots 2 elves out in... We're sort of on a mountain trail here, though, so I'm not really sure why they'd be up here. But maybe there's a river that runs along. I don't know. Something like that. There's trees along the side, and maybe that's where Nefira likes to hang out to keep an eye on the road and things coming from the woods. So she sort of dips near this stream higher up in the hills, and she spots 2 elves sort of drawing water from the stream and trying to, they're very alert, but Nefira is oh so sneaky. So she observes them, and they are geared, they are equipped for the wilderness. They have bows, they have daggers. I don't know how Nefira specifically feels about elves, but obviously they're not from the community or anything like that. We could try to approach and make contact with them and talk with them and converse with them and all that sort of stuff, but I'm also more inclined to just steer clear of everything. If we can make every trip throughout this region without bumping into anything, I'd be fairly happy. And especially it's a good thing that they didn't spot Nefira and approach, because her charisma is abysmal. So it wouldn't have been good. So she's going to report back, and we're going to just give them a wide berth and go around. And hopefully not bump into them. So that wasn't meant to be a random encounter necessarily of like, again, as always, not meant to be like, hey, this is the combat. You're getting ambushed by elves. It should more represent an opportunity to the players. That's what most random encounters are going to be. So that was an opportunity. Many groups might actually want to approach the elves, because we know based on the player map and stuff that there's this whole labyrinth of shadows and stuff. And presumably elves in the area know more about the forest, the giant forest in there, rather than the mountainous regions here. So if we wanted to know more about the labyrinth and the tower of shadow that's supposedly in the middle, maybe the elves know something. I could see conversing with them for sure, but in our case, I just want to get back to town. So we are going to ignore them and move on. We set up camp for the night. We're going to consume another set of rations. Again, nothing happened to our donkey, so we're all good. We only have to consume one ration. Whoops. One ration because of our great foraging success. I am going to roll for a random encounter during the night. I know Axe said once every 3 nights, but I don't know. I always like to keep players on their toes at night. And this is the only sort of nighttime they're going to have. It's a 1-night trip to the village, the settlement. So we're just going to roll. All right, it's all good. So we wake up. Well, we actually recover another hit point. Good, excellent. And now we're going to make the second trip, D6. We're all good. We're going to do a forced march now. So there's a group constitution check. Like I said, it's a relatively easy one, though. So this is going to be +2. Success. Success. Can't imagine he fails. Great success. Donkey doesn't matter. So we make it, and we arrive back at Karn Buldar just in time for dinner. And that means we get to tally up our XP. And this is going to be some shit. Alright, so what did we all get? We got coinage. We did get a coin. We did get coinage. We also picked up, I think, one scroll. We got 1,600, 1,000, 1,200 from the treasure. Coinage we got. Fuck, I don't remember. I'm gonna have to go back here and look. Oh, I didn't even notice this. It even says not easily noticed. And I definitely didn't search that room, so that's on me. But there was a large orange gem encrusted in sturge guano and not easily noticed. And apparently it's a special item. It's a crystal of power. Shit. Well, that's never getting found. And I could see many, many groups missing out on that one. But this is why I search every fucking room, man. Just do it. Someone said they wanted... Yes, the mage in town. She'll pay 1,000 gold for each one that's recovered. Alright, anyways. Blah, blah, blah. Missed that. Here we go. We got 400 silver, 200 gold, so that's 240. Then another 100. Yep. Then the 900 silver. I think we did take that, right? Or did I? I think I did. And then the 1,000 EP, which is 500. And then the +1 sword, which counts 660, I think. And I believe that's our total. Not counting kills, which, yeah, it's a lot of math. But, no, boy, how many sturges did we actually kill? We definitely killed all 6 in that first room. Then I think we killed 7 more. think. So 13 Sturges. Okay. We're doing proper math. This is how most groups would do it. They would want their XP. And if I was playing, I'd want every last number of XP because it matters. So, these guys are less than 1. They have an ability? Yes. So there's 6 XP each. So that's 13 times 6. 78. You know, it all adds up. Giant rats. She killed 6 in the hallway, which technically is solo, but I'll count it for the group because I'm nice. Again, if I was playing, I would demand solo XP, but whatever. And then I think we killed like 5 of the rats in that other room. So that's another 11 giant rats, which are 1 hit die, I believe. And now the PDF froze, so that's great. Yep. There you go. They are also 1/2, and they don't have the bonus, so that's 11 times 5. That's 55. We killed 1 giant crab. No, we got ambushed by 2 more, so we killed 3 crab spiders. They are 2 hit dice with with an ability, so that's 29 each. So 29, 29, 29. I think that's it, right? For thing that we didn't kill the green slime. There were no other random encounters. That's it. That's all the XP. All right. So, 150 plus 1600 plus 1000 plus 1200. 240. We're leveling up off this shit, boy. 90. 500. 660. 78. 55. 29. 29. 29. 5,760 divided by 3. 1,920. Plus 3, 4, 4, 6. 5,366. Very nice indeed. And that is definitely a level up. Okay, now that's going to be 8,000 for the next level. Gotta keep adventuring. But still, that was a very nice haul. That was nearly a level out of 1 dungeon. But we did do fairly well scouring the dungeon. I mean, not... Like I said, we missed the +1 shield, which is the major thing we missed. But outside of that, yeah, we got pretty much everything else. Another 500 silver sitting there, but yeah, good. So now we're level 3. And that's significant. I guess we'll go through and do it all. So he gets another attribute. He's gonna go for luck again, I suppose. Just because that's, you know, spell casting and that's short rest rolls and stuff, so yeah, pretty good. After this, he's just gonna put it into Dex, of course, trying to get more AC. So you got hit points, you got the attribute, and then unique feature. That's a tricky one. He does get spells as well. He gets now a level 2 spell. I actually have to go through and make another item. Ability, divine spell casting, tier 2. Okay. So he gets to pick a level 2 spell. He also... So, yeah. One thing that's an easy, obvious, unique feature is just getting another spell slot. I don't think it's the most exciting thing. He could dip into wizard spell, arcane spells, which would not be a bad idea. And that actually we have already an example in the book, so we don't have to like come up with our own version of it. Spellcraft. Gain a limited version of the magic user's spellcraft ability. Learn 2 spells, one random, one chosen. And you begin an adventure with 2 uses of the ability. That's pretty significant. Now, granted, I don't know. I don't think you ever get more than 2 uses unless you spend further unique features on it. But honestly, he is a really good, like, I don't know, a Mystic Theurge, really, like, where you can, he can cast Arcane and Divine spells. Like, he's got the right stats for it. So, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go with Spellcraft. The fact that I get to choose a spell, outrageous. Outrageous. So let's roll our random one. This is just going to be a 1d36, completely random. $24. That gives us sharpness. That could be solid. Temporarily enhances 1 or more edged or pointed weapons to the equivalent of a magic weapon +1. Does not stack with masterwork weapon bonuses, but they get an additional +1 to damage. Yeah. And lasts for 30 minutes. Now, granted, he already has Bane Rune, which is +2 against a specific type of creature, but that's for 10 minutes against a specific type of creature. And this is a different category. This is an arcane one. So, honestly, I think it's alright. So, arcane spellcasting, tier 1 only. He does get 2 uses of it. This would be int, arcane lore, to cast spell, rate success equals multiply one number by 1.5. Okay, and then for spells, he gets sharpness, int, touch, special. Yeah, I'm overall happy with this decision. Now, granted, it's already a little useless, because Rethi, for example, already has a magic weapon. But, yeah. Pretty good. Then we get to pick one. And we also get to pick our level 2 divine spell. So this is some stuff. Slumber is pretty absurd. And I think I don't know how I could ever pass up Slumber if I have the actual option of picking it. Can put to sleep any living targets with fewer than 5 hit dice situated within a 10-foot diameter sphere. If they have 1 hit dice or less, they just are done. If they have 2 hit dice or more, they get a paralysis saving throw. And it specifically says that normal noise does not waken it, which is pretty significant. It also has a 180-foot range, and it lasts for, at this point, 30 minutes. It's just a phenomenal spell. Gets less useful as time goes on, but still, there's always going to be little shitty stuff. You know, fewer than 5 hit dice stuff. 4 hit dice stuff is mostly what we're the limit of what we're going to be encountering throughout this adventure. So hell yeah. All right, 180 feet range. 10-foot diameter sphere. I spelt that wrong. Diameter. Diameter. One hit dice equals slept. 2 to 4 hit dice equal para save. Or, well, I guess I should just put what it is. Luck. Now, I can check my chart, but I'm probably not going to agree with it. Luck con. Okay, I can live with that. Luck con or slept. Alright, and it's intelligence. Special, well, I guess it's very far. And special duration. 30 minutes. A lot of text. Alright, and then lastly is going to be our level 2 divine spell. That we get to pick. Ooh, boy, there's a lot of options. I may have to look over these on my own, so I'm probably going to want to read a bunch of these. Oh, you also get access to Slumber at level 2. Righteous Wrath could be good. Physical Protection could be good. I don't know. Holy Blessing could be good. Let me just look at Holy Blessing. Fills the caster and up to 30 allied recipients within 15 feet with courage and hope. +1 bonus to attack throws, armor class, morale rolls, and saving throws against magical fear for an hour. That is pretty phenomenal. I almost don't need to look at anything else because that's really good. Yeah, I might just take that, but I'll take the time to read them over. That would be it for Dalnir. Next is Nefira. So she, yeah, she just gets, well, she gets another trick and technique. Also, this should be a 3 and not 1. I know I don't use them too often, but, yeah. What did I say would be reasonably good? Recon leader, maybe? Alright, let's just go with recon leader. Okay. And then her unique feature. That's a damn good question. I think we're gonna go with like a precise shot thing. So she ignores any penalty from shooting into melee. Also, she's increasing her strength again. So now she actually has a +1 on melee, which will still come up. But I want this precise shot thing. I don't know if it's... I don't know if it's... Well, marksman. When using ranged weapons, you don't suffer disadvantage when shooting further than weapon's usual range, and never roll to see if you inadvertently hit an ally in melee with your target. It's not quite what I'm suggesting. I think, yeah, I'm going to go with an alternative version of marksman, where I just ignore the penalty. So we're going to call it precise shot. Yeah, was that what it was called? Spellcraft or... Yeah, spellcraft. Okay. And that's it for Nefira. Rethi is going to increase her strength. Well, is she? She already has the +2. So increasing her strength doesn't do much for combat purposes. I think she's going to go maybe with Dex to start trying to get some AC. That's what we're all about. Boom. She's up to 26 hit points. Very nice. And she gets another style. And she got another attack bonus, so pretty good. She gets, what, +6 now because of this longsword? Yeah, +6. Not bad. For her unique feature, probably something to increase her armor, or maybe we could do something with shield mastery to go even further than that. Armor Master, when wearing armor, you reduce all damage suffered by 2 points. That's pretty darn good, if I remember that it exists. I could live with that. We could also increase her damage with longswords if we want her to be a bit more offensive. We could give, yeah, her exploding dice with a longsword or something like that, which is not bad. That's especially cheesy if she was a two-handed fighter with the two-handed style, so she gets to roll advantage. Then that gets really kind of pretty obscenely good. Yeah, I mean, I've done things in the past of like just you get +1 AC if that's what you want for your unique feature. Here's Shield Maiden. If proficient and using a shield, gain +2 AC instead of +1, but this does not stack with the Protector ability. Great. That's according to them. These are just suggestions. You can do whatever you want. You know, it's a unique feature. It's very fluid, very customizable. I don't know if we struggle that much on the offensive things, but she also doesn't really take much damage. So I don't know if I want to go defensive. I think we might go... I'm going to bump up her damage die with the longsword. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to call this longsword specialty. Increase damage die of longswords. I know, we've done this in the past. It's always my just like no-brainer option. So now this is going to be 1d8 / 1d10 for her. God damn, I can't even like hear myself think. This is why we stick to AI music, I swear to God. It's all just... Like, look, if I switch to this. Oh, God, it's like your brain gets massaged all of a sudden instead of having like a cat screeching in your ear. Anyways, 1d8 + 1 now. And yeah, that's a pretty nice upgrade. And then as far as an adaptable style, also this should be now a 3 out of 3. You can tell how little I use these abilities. Well, yeah, that's I don't love the fighter in this game. I like the idea, but I just feel like a lot of the time you're not going to be switching between these all the time or anything like that. It's... Yeah. You have very little incentive to pick a lot of these because it's like, I'm not going to pick single weapon. I'm a shield guy. That's what I use the shield. So why would I ever do that? I'm not going to pick unarmed. I'm not going to punch somebody unarmed. Like, it's just... Yeah, I could see a rework of the fighter, but I'm not really sure what I would do if I wanted to maintain this sort of... Like, I get the intent, you know, I get the idea that you're a fighter, you're a master of all weaponry and all combat styles, and you can switch, you know, on the fly between using a two-handed axe to a spear to a sword and shield to just punching people, you know, and you can do it all. I get the intent, but I just don't think most people play like that. So expert guard is one that's going to be useful to everybody for sure. If you roll a 1 on an attack with a weapon, you can just turn it into a miss so you avoid a free attack against you. That's a no-brainer. Brutal, if you roll a natural 19 with a melee weapon, you get to add +2 to trauma rolls. Again, pretty handy. It'll come up for sure. Also, Opportunist is the other one that's going to be pretty useful to almost everybody. If you reduce a foe to 0 hit points with a melee or thrown attack, you get to immediately make another melee or thrown attack. I think we're going to take Opportunist. My only issue is that I might not remember doing to use it. But, you know, that goes for pretty much all of them, really. That is pretty much it, I think. Yeah, we are good to go. We got our unique features. Dalnir feels pretty fucking capable at this point. They all feel kind of capable. She's got 26 hit points. Nefira, certainly the least capable, but at the same time, just the fact that she's a halfling with advantage on all stealth and she has 16 dex makes her kind of fucking invaluable to the team. So I think we've got a good group going here. Perhaps 3 characters was a little OP. Maybe. It could be. Tales of Argosa characters are pretty powerful. But I mean, we've definitely gotten overconfident in the past and had characters get wiped out. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. So we'll handle our business in town next time. Honestly, there's not going to be that much we can do just because it's a class 6 market. I can make some special dispensations, maybe. Maybe. Yeah. It's not a very rich town. It says the town is self-sustaining and its citizens are content even without the gem trade to bolster coffers. So it's not a very wealthy settlement. I can't really say that much else about it or do anything different with it. It's a class 6 settlement and it's fine. It's a small little village. It doesn't have that many places of note or renown or anything. Yeah, you know. We might be able to hire the blacksmith if we want to wait a month, and there's no real rush to anything. Although, there is a bit of a time element, isn't there? And I probably should have been keeping track. Because it says, during the course of the adventure, the threat that emanates from the tower will spread outward into the gem-thrown wilderness. The referee may wish to show this by increasing the frequency of wandering monster encounters as the players travel overland. Perhaps also having more undead roaming about as time goes on to signify that Duard has started sending out his troops. A few weeks after the start of the adventure, droves of undead may march on the outer settlements if the threat isn't dealt with. So yeah, we are spending a decent amount of time, and that long rest we already took probably does do a number on the situation. So I don't think I can sit around for a month while waiting for stuff. But at the same time, you sort of have to inform players a little bit, like give them some clues that there's something happening. And this isn't just like, yeah, we're wandering around and exploring and getting treasure. There's no rush to anything. So probably when we get back to town now, we probably want to start hearing some rumors and stuff that some places are getting hit by undead. If we really want to do a number on your players at this point, you could just have the ranch, the Amethyst Ranch, get hit. And Taggart gets killed or something by a pack of undead. That might put a spring in their steps if they actually care about Taggart. And I don't know why they wouldn't. He was pretty good to them. But we'll see. But yeah, so I don't imagine we'll really be able to do much as far as purchasing. We can stock up on some stuff. But I think we have to become cognizant of the time and the threat present from the undead. We'll see how it goes, but this video is definitely done. My name is Mang. This has been Solo Roll Manging. I'll see you fine folks in the next part.